Tulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9
All
a.m.
right, let's get it going as we always do with Melissa Puta. Melissa, I can't see you. Let me move this monitor. Good morning.
Morning, Zulasize.
So there was this debate where Build One South Africa wanted significant changes made to the pass rate for matric. That debate and their motion has been defeated.
Yes, so good morning. Build One SA, led by Musi Maimani, expressed disappointment after Parliament rejected its motion to raise the matric pass mark from 30% to 50%. The motion was defeated 190 to 87, with the ANC, DA, PA, FF Plus, and Al Jamaa voting against it, while the EFF, IFP, and MK party supported the proposal. Busa criticized the 30% threshold as modern day Bantu education, arguing it entrenches low expectations and leaves learners unprepared for higher education and the workforce. Busa also highlighted that the current pass mark undermines South Africa's global competitiveness and fails to reflect the country's educational aspirations. They stressed that a 50% minimum would better equip learners for university, international study, and modern job markets. While the Department of Basic Education clarified that passing the National Senior Certificate requires higher subject specific thresholds, Busa argued that defending the 30% standard perpetuates mediocrity and masks systematic failures. The party maintains that increasing the pass mark is about raising expectations, not punishing learners, and aims to give young South Africans the tools and support they need to compete both nationally and globally.
I suspect you may be too young to know of a show that was called Going Nowhere Slowly. Do you know
No,
it?
I
You don't,
definitely don't
clearly.
know.
So there was a show called Going Nowhere Slowly here on SABC. This is the story of the arms deal corruption case. It really is going nowhere slowly. I'm almost retiring from
Oh
journalism.
no.
It's almost 20 years since I covered the first appearance of former President Jacob Zuma in court on this matter, and it still hasn't gone anywhere.
You know what? It might outlive us at this point, this case. The arms deal corruption trial against former President Jacob Zuma and French arms company Thales returns to the Pietermaritzburg High Court today and tomorrow, 6 months after the last hearing. Zuma and Thales previously failed to halt the trial, and both have applied for leave to appeal that ruling. The state opposes this and seeks a court order for the trial to proceed regardless of pending appeals, arguing Zuma has long delayed proceedings through repeated legal maneuvers. Zuma faces charges of fraud, corruption, racketeering, and money laundering from a second indictment in 2018 and has pleaded not guilty. Over the years, he has filed multiple applications, including attempts to remove lead prosecutor Billy Downer and actions against journalists, which were unsuccessful. Tales also filed a motion claiming it cannot receive a fair trial due to the deaths of key witnesses, a point that Zuma has used to argue for his own acquittal. Judge Nkosinathi Chili has so far dismissed these delay tactics, ruling that concerns about the trial prejudice must be addressed during the trial itself. Despite previous trial dates set for May 2024 being missed, the state insists that the trial should now proceed in the interest of justice, while Zuma's legal team argues that ongoing and unresolved applications make continuing the trial unthinkable. So we will have to wait and see what happens
We're
today.
going nowhere slowly. That was the theme. And it seems everywhere we turn these days, there's a syndicate, and this time around in higher education.
Yes. So, Higher Education Minister Buti Manamela has demanded that the Vaal University of Technology Council explain why allegations of a syndicate selling qualifications were ignored for over a year. Reports suggest foreigners may have been involved and senior managers allegedly failed to act on whistleblower evidence. Manamela called the delay unacceptable and warned that simply investigating is insufficient, emphasizing the need to prevent corruption in the 2026 student intake. He has requested a preliminary report by Friday detailing the delay, proof of consequence management, and urgent steps to safeguard the registration process. The minister also noted that selling degrees is a criminal offense and said that the matter could be referred to the Hawks if internal processes are inadequate, stressing that such incidents threaten the credibility of South Africa's national qualifications framework. So this is quite an interesting one
Yeah.
and quite sad indeed.
All right. Thank you for that, Melissa Puta. What do we call you? You're not a Gen Z. Are you what?
The millennial.
Who doesn't know going nowhere slowly?
Tulasizwe Simelane on SAFM.
On the weather front, here's what you need to know. There's one impact-based warning. It is a yellow level 1 warning, and it is for severe thunderstorms leading to localized damage to infrastructure, property, vehicles, and injuries, livelihood, and livestock due to hail, damaging winds, heavy downpours, and excessive lightning. And that is expected over the extreme northeastern parts of the Northern Cape and the western parts of the Northwest. And then the rest of your weather looks like this. In Pretoria, it will be partly cloudy with isolated afternoon thunder showers with a minimum of 15 and a maximum of 23. Johannesburg, partly cloudy with isolated afternoon thunder showers, 15 to 21. Vereeniging, same conditions with a minimum of 14 and a maximum of 23. In Bombela, it will be partly cloudy with isolated afternoon showers and thunder showers, 17 to 24. And same conditions in Polokwane, partly cloudy with isolated afternoon thunder showers, 14 to 22. Mahikeng, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 16 to 27. Bloemfontein will be partly cloudy with isolated afternoon thunder showers, 13 to 28. Kimberley will be fine, becoming partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 15 to 33. Uppington fine, 21 to 37. Cape Town will be fine with a minimum of 21 and a maximum of 34. George fine 12 to 28. Gqeberha fine 12 to 24. East London will be cloudy in the early morning, otherwise fine 13 to 24. Durban will be cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers 18 to 23. Richards Bay cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers 18 to 24. Lastly, Pietermaritzburg will be cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers 13 to 22.
Worldview Update, bringing you closer to international or global news.
News out of Europe now, and NATO and Moscow are trading ever sharper words, with the military alliance's leaders hitting back after Russian President Vladimir Putin's latest warning that Russia could be ready for war with Europe. NATO chief Mark Rutte has taken a firm tone, stressing that the alliance is a defensive alliance, but ready and willing to do what it takes to protect its 1 billion people. The EU, meanwhile, is escalating economic pressure with its controversial plan to fund Ukraine using loans backed by Russia's frozen assets, a move that Ursula von der Leyen says is meant to show Moscow that prolonging the war comes with high cost. Let's speak to Professor Abel Esterhazy, who is a member of the Department of Strategic Studies in the Faculty of Military Science at Stellenbosch University. Prof, good morning, and thank you for your time as always. Give us the backdrop to this escalating and ratcheting up of the rhetoric between NATO and Moscow.
Yeah, I think there's two issues that one needs to highlight here. One is perhaps urgency that have come to the fore now. This urgency is rooted in the proposals fees that we have seen in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And part of the discomfort at the moment has to do with the fact all the parties are trying to position themselves to the point where they want to to, to advance to get that proposal on the table. So I think this is a bit of questioning of this.
But what about these comments about on the one side, Russia saying that we don't want war with Europe, but we would be ready for it. And on the other hand, there's even talk of preemptive strikes that we're told that NATO says those are not off the table and could be considered defensive action. That's quite a serious escalation. Just rhetoric or something to be concerned about?
I'm not concerned about it at all. I think it's rhetoric. As I said, parties now trying to position themselves. Um, no, we ought to be worried. Um, worry is perhaps not the word, but one has to recognize the fact that in all of this is the reality of Russian nuclear weapons. And when you hear this rhetoric and when you hear them talking about escalation of war, it's always the the uh, the reality of nuclear weapons that's in the background. And so I don't see this as an escalation. I see it as part of the peace process that I think we are going to see in the next couple of weeks. We definitely think we're definitely going to see a period uh, a peace process. I think Russia is in peace process, and the Ukraine is in need of a peace process. There's an urgency, and both that that bring to a so this is part of the peace process, the so-called war of words. Um, and I won't make too much of it. I don't see this
Would you say that Russia is buoyed by advances on the battlefield, including the recent, takeover of Pokrovsk in eastern Ukraine, as well as what seems to be a stop-start approach in as far as the tone coming out of Washington about its commitment to the defense of Ukraine?
So there's a lot of Washington's role, but we are actually seeing the Trump administration becoming a actor that is seen as not really a neutral actor anymore or neutral more. For me, in Europe or in the war itself, there's definitely um, perhaps an escalation of some sort, but it has to do with an urgency for peace. I can't see, and this is part of the here. Uh, we are really at a point really like this, and we are seeing Ukraine's inability to drive Russians out of Ukraine. And I think that two realities ought to be the beginning of any peace process, a recognition that Russia is not
Mm.
really making progress, that Ukraine is not to drive the Russians out. And
Right.
that's the key to unlocking the peace process
Yeah.
here. Um, and and then of course we need to understand, and this is where the Americans have gone wrong, to exclude the Ukraine and the Europeans a discussion about peace in Ukraine from the 18 point. Um,
Yeah.
and I think this is where America has gone wrong. But those realities are driving, I think, this process
All
at the
right.
moment.
All right, let's leave it there. I've got to thank you for your time, Professor Abel Esterhazy, a member of the Department of Strategic Studies at Stellenbosch University.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's start with cricket. A stunning century from Aiden Markram powered the Proteas to a record four-wicket run chase against India in Raipur, squaring the ODI series at 1-1. Markram's 106 anchored South Africa's third highest successful chase at 359. Soccer action, Mamelodi Sundowns will head into the mid break off the top of the Betway Premiership. They were held 1-1 by Siwelele FC in Bloemfontein. Champions needed a win to return to first place from Orlando Pirates, but they remained second, 2 points off the pace. Meanwhile, Kaizer Chiefs lost further ground after being held to a goalless draw by bottom place for United in Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium. In another match, Stellenbosch FC continued their struggles, losing 2-1 at home to Polokwane City. Let's go to Orlando Pirates winger now. Oswin Apollos says having quality players around him has helped to improve his game and numbers in his first 5 months at the club. Apollos is one of 9 Pirates players included in Coach Hugo Bruges' 25-man Bafana squad for AFCON.
No, obviously there have been improvement, but it's also about the players around you, who you play with, and I think with the group, as you can see, we are a very special group. We got to understand each other, and as you can see in the group, it's not just me that improved; it's the whole team that improved.
Moving to the Premier League last night, Arsenal, they stayed right in the hunt with a 2-0 win over Brentford, keeping the pressure on at the top. At the Amex, it was a goal fest drama. Aston Villa edging Brighton 4-3 in a 7-goal thriller. Crystal Palace picked up a vital 1-0 away win over Burnley, while Nottingham Forest squeezed past Wolves, and that was by the same scoreline. A big shock at Ellen Road. Leeds United stunning Chelsea 3-1, and at Anfield, Liverpool were held 1-1 by Sunderland. That's the morning brief sports. We'll bring you more top of the hour. I'm Sai Khan.
Good morning, I'm Ann Musa. In the headlines, suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi will continue with his testimony at the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this morning. His testimony will be followed by that of the Police Minister, Senzo Mchunu. The Africa Maibuye movement says it will call for a commission of inquiry into what it calls black poverty. This is part of its program of action as it goes into its inaugural national convention planned for the University of Johannesburg's Soweto campus this weekend. And the Daniel Scale Regional Court in the Northern Cape has sentenced a 25-year-old man to 18 years in prison for the rape of 2 girls between 2019 and 2020. I'll have details on these and other stories at 7.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. If you're on your way to Pretoria, just a heads up, there's an obstruction, an incident on the R21 northbound between Monument Park and Fountain Circle. You might want to reroute away from the R21 going up to Pretoria. Will get jammed there. The other side of Gauteng, the N1 North, one of those really heavy mornings. Eldos, Devlin, through Deepcliff down towards Uncle Charlie's. It's jam-packed as bad as it can be for this time of morning. Got an obstruction. There's possibly a breakdown around Cliffdale. So if you're on your way to Pietermaritzburg, just a little bit of a slowdown at that scene. The N2 North open after last night's crash and spillage through Spaghetti Junction, but it is backed up with the normal weight of traffic getting caught up into the construction. So from the M7 to Westwood Mall, that's all busy. And motorists driving into Cape Town, the N2 is heavy this morning. A vehicle on fire by Muway at Khayelitsha, back of that queue at Baden-Powell Drive. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
The business update on SAFM.
And for that, we turn to Ntauleng Lechela. Good morning to you, Ntauleng. I want to ask you if you missed me because that's a given. Let's start in the United States. Tell me about hiring. You're saying that continues to slow in that economy.
Morning to us. Welcome back, man.
Good to be back. Yeah, I know, hey?
Yeah, yeah. Getting back into the data, the labor market is central to the Fed's mandate, and the latest data shows a sharp cooling just days before makers meet. New figures from ADP reveal that private employers had 32,000 jobs last month, a far weaker outcome than the expected gain of 40,000. It also a notable reversal from October's revised increase of 47,000 jobs that were created. Now, small businesses bore the brunt of the decline, shedding 120,000 jobs, the biggest drop since March 2023, with firms employing 20 to 49 workers hit hardest. Larger companies, by contrast, added 90,000 positions, this highlighting a widening divide in hiring conditions. Sector performance was mixed. Education and healthcare posted gains, while professional and business services recorded the largest losses. Manufacturing, information services, financial activities, and construction also saw cuts. Wage growth in the meantime continued to ease, rising 4.4% on a year-on-year basis. The report, of course, comes ahead of the Fed's December meeting, where markets are still expecting another rate cut despite growing divisions inside the central bank.
Let's talk aviation. Tell me about Airbus and what they are saying about their delivery guidance.
So the jet manufacturer, airplane manufacturer, setting its aircraft delivery targets for 2026 just days after ordering one of the largest recalls. Now, the company has now reduced its 2025 guidance by 30 jets, blaming a new supplier quality problem linked to the same A320 family already under scrutiny. The latest issue involves metal fuselage panels supplied by Sophitek Aero. Airbus says the flaw affects a limited number of aircraft and has been contained, but it adds to last week's software directive requiring about 6,000 A320s to undergo immediate fixes. The company now expects 190 deliveries throughout its next financial year, though it is keeping its profit guidance unchanged, including 7 billion euros in adjusted earnings. Analysts stress the issue appears to be insurable, but the timing has hurt comparisons to Boeing's long-running quality challenges.
Yeah, you know what? I remain an Airbus person through and through. I remain an Airbus believer all the way. And the fact that they're taking these preemptive steps,
Yeah.
it really comforts me. Let's talk about the markets. How's it looking?
So, starting by reflecting on yesterday's close, US stocks posted a second straight day of gains as softer than expected private sector hiring data strengthened market confidence that the Fed is on track for a quarter point rate cut next week. The Dow Jones led the gains on that front, up 0.87%. Trade was just as positive here at home, with the all share closing 0.45% higher, led by financials up 1.2%. Over in the currency scene, the rand continues to strengthen against the greenback despite mixed local economic data. It is sitting at 17.06 to the dollar, really benefiting from a softer greenback. Oil also firmer this morning, trading above $62 a barrel. This comes as Ukrainian attacks on Russia's oil infrastructure signaled potential supply constraints and stalled peace talks tempered expectations of a deal restoring Russian oil flows to global markets. Lastly, in Asia, stocks in positive territory this morning, holding on to the Fed rally gain.
All right, Dowling, thank you for that. We'll catch up with you in the second hour of the show just after 7:30.
Africa Update on SAFM.
And for that, we turn to Advocate Sipho Mantula. Raz, good morning. Let's start with news regarding the US, Rwanda, and the DRC. Tell me about the White House hosting these leaders from Rwanda and the DRC.
A fresh morning to us and Jumbo Africa to the listeners. To us, indeed, what we are seeing is the follow up of the ministers of foreign affairs of DRC and Rwanda, mediated by the US. You recall to us last night in Qatar, where they had what is called the signing of the two of the 8 implementation protocols. So what is happening today to us is that Donald Trump will now be facilitating between Felix Tshisekedi and Paul Kagame, others are calling it a historic peace and economic agreement that the US have mediated on to us. There is still concerns to us in the South Kivu and North Kivu, where there are conflicts going on between the two rebels of Kinshasa. So one is not optimistic and not positive to us about the Washington peace process. when actually on the ground there are still challenges facing ordinary people the eastern part of the DRC. So let's wait and see what the Washington consensus or Washington peace process bring for the African continent.
Take me to Dakar, Sipho, in Senegal. What's happening in higher education there at the Sheikh Anta Diop University?
Tula, this is a famous university and a prominent one in the land of Sheikh Anta Diop. As you said, is the university named after him. Clash between the students and the police yesterday around the issue of financial aid. Tula, this is not a news we have seen. We have seen it in South Africa. So they are demanding their stipends and the issue of the deepening economic crisis. So the young people have taken up in the street. This Usman Sonko, he's an alma mater of that same university. Tula, nothing has changed. You look at the challenges that are facing students across the African continent. This is worrying to us. Once we have the students in the streets, must be worried as Usman Sonko as the Prime Minister, Basomia Defy as the President, we must be worried also. Despite, like I said, they have an economic crisis of a deepening debt.
And we have the Pan-African Parliament, which is a continental parliament. But now you're telling us this morning that there's talk of a potential regional SADC parliament. And this is happening at the SADC Parliamentary Forum.
That's quite true, Tula. It has started since last month on the 30th tomorrow, Tula, in Queen. The SADC Parliamentary Forum has been in existence, Tula, but according to the SADC Treaty of 1992, it has to be reformed to become a SADC parliament, not the SADC Parliamentary Forum, Tula. This was echoed by South Africa's Speaker of National Assembly, Metro. These are emphasizing that they should remove the F, the SADC PF, and install the SADC Parliament, emphasizing that by at least 2026, because what happened yesterday, there was an overwhelming endorsement by member states of the SADC to say that there is a need to move towards the SADC, the SADC Parliament. As you said, we have the Parliament at the EU level, but also the economic regional bodies, they are allowed to have their own parliament. The Senate Parliament, it was back and delayed last time. So I think it will be important to hear after this session come 2026 what will be the actions. And remember, South Africa is currently the interim chair, will be assuming the chair in August 2026. So this might be a positive sign for that reform of the parliamentary forum to a SADC parliament.
Lastly, Sipho, take us to your historical archives. One of those crucial days in the formation of democratic South Africa, 4 December 1996. What happened?
On this day, the highest court of the land, Constitutional Court, approved the Constitution of South Africa of 1996, which took effect on the 4th of February 1997. You know very well, Tulas, next year it will be the 30 years. That's where we check the 30 years of the approval of the Constitution in 1996. It came into effect, like I said, in 1997. Still few challenges on it, plus when you look at whether Chapter 2, the Fundamental Bill of Rights, look at the role of the Chapter 9 institution, you look at the judiciary now, that is going under few commissions of the inquiry, and those challenges. And that's where you find even the lack of cooperation amongst government under Chapter 3 also cannot leave Chapter 12 in terms of the role of Amakosi, the kings and queens in this country having challenges. Finally, also you can't leave the local government because that's where the bedrock of our constitution lies in terms of being developmental, a democratic state, accountability and openness. That's why, as I said, we are facing that enormous task to say, is it a legal constitution? Do people eat the constitution to us when we are facing enormous task as the country and as the region? And that's why we will end it to us. Let's hope, as this is International Human Rights Month also, this constitution will make means development in the lives of our people. Asante sana.
Sipho, thank you for that. That's Sipho Mantula with your Africa update for this morning.
Across South Africa, online and on radio. SAFM, let's talk.
16 minutes to 7. Suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Police Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi had to take countless nervous gulps of bottled water as the heat was turned on him as he appeared before the Madlanga Commission. In his testimony, Mkhwanazi denied allegations that he unlawfully authorized blue lights for vehicles belonging to attempted murder accused and alleged criminal underworld kingpin Vusumuzi Cat Matlala. His testimony sought to counter a series of serious accusations involving irregular procurement, improper promotions, and even alleged involvement in a murder cover-up. Let's touch base with Kenny Mapanga, SABC News reporter who's been tracking the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. It made for a spectacle in terms of watching it, Kenny, because of the tone and demeanor and the way that Julius Mkhwanazi presented it himself. But what were some of the essential, elements of content that came out from his testimony? What did he manage to address?
Indeed. Good morning to those and to the listeners. Well, it's quite difficult to answer that question because the very nervous Julius Mkhwanazi attempted to evade most of those questions. And seemingly, I think that is because it will line up with this allegation that he was basically running a parallel structure within the City of leadership, meaning that he was taking decisions outside of the relevant authorities that were already in place, taking it upon himself. For example, we look at the memorandums of understanding. Through the questioning, it became very clear, even though he tried to water it down as something that was a charitable act by two private entities, that is Medicare 24 and, of course, the CAT VIP Protection Services, that is the security firm of alleged cartel member Vusimuzi Cat Matalam. Seemingly, what the MOU was able to reveal, even though he was trying to allegedly distract the commission from the fact that it was an attainment of blue light. MOU states in clear black and white that the understanding is that these two companies give so-called services which are already catered for in municipalities, then they would need to be given those blue lights, which raises questions as to what the true purpose of having those blue lights would be, because we already know that emergency services are catered for with red lights and the private security companies have white lights. Why was there a specific interest by these two private entities, one even falling outside of the jurisdiction of the city of Ekurhuleni, to have those blue lights? Well, it points to this allegation that it could seemingly have been allegedly towards the advancement of criminal elements, because we do know that blue light is something that is strictly reserved for law enforcement agencies. And we know that once you enjoy that, it's move freely on the country's roads and do whatever you please, because those vehicles will not be, they won't be searched, etc. But seemingly, as he tried to evade those questions, it becomes more and more clear what environment around the city of Ekurhuleni may have been under his parallel structure. However, due to this consistent act of talking rather in circles and trying to preempt where the evidence was going and seemingly talking in a different direction, the commission still hasn't even been able to dark web of allegations that he
Yeah.
faced outside of Vusimuzi Matala. That is those allegations of his unit, that specialized services unit, allegedly conducting a reign of terror in the Ekurhuleni region and beyond that jurisdiction to the alleged act of kidnapping,
Yeah.
extortion, theft, and even murder.
In fact, I was about to ask that, how far did we go? Because I saw that in the end, it ended up being a marathon session, no less than 11 hours with breaks in between, but it seems he wasn't able to cover much ground. You could tell there was a great deal of frustration on both the side of the commissioners and the evidence leader, couldn't you?
Absolutely, because the issues are quite simple. If you're stating that, for example, the operation can be dispute, and now he's confronted with an email that shows that he participated in recommending those vehicles of CAT VIP in the operational plan, and now he's saying he doesn't recall. If we're talking about the various appointments, he can't remember who was in the meeting. I mean, it was quite a frustrating process for someone to be so intimately involved in a particular act, and it shows through the documentation and the annexures. But when you're called upon to substantiate the various claims, as well as respond to the allegation, all of a sudden don't recall, or you're answering a question that has nothing to do with what has been posed to you. Now, because of that lengthy exercise, eventually the commission couldn't even get to the part of the dark web of alleged criminality that these witnesses have painted before the commission was trying to get to. Because although there is this allegation of Vusimuzi Cat Matala alleged to have influence city of Ekurhuleni. It goes far beyond that and deals with very serious allegations of how this particular unit refused to be vetted allegedly, and of course began to run operations within the region that actually had alleged criminal elements in it. So we're talking about the track hijackings. We're talking about that incident of tubing that witness who has explained before the commission and alleged that it was the Commissioner Mkhwanazi who actually said to that witness that he should allegedly dispose of the body and he guided the team how to clean it up. Those are also quite crucial allegations that we need to answer to, but he
Yeah.
spent the entire day trying to evade questions about seemingly what I think he understands to be an unlawful agreement. And if he makes concessions with respect to that, then it will point to the fact that he was allegedly running a parallel structure and he didn't have the authority or power to do so.
All right. Thank you for that. That's Kenny Mapanga, who is SABC News reporter covering the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Just as an added element there, the commission needing to adjust its program so that it starts at about 8:30 this morning in order to accommodate Julius Mkhwanazi completing his testimony before they move on to the Minister Senzo Mchunu. So that tells you the amount of ground that still needs to be covered in as far as that testimony is concerned.
This festive season, enjoy a province endowed with natural attractions, adventure, wildlife, and rich cultural heritage. Discover the ultimate wildlife experience that brings you closer to nature. Explore the breathtaking nature reserves dotted across Mpumalanga and the endless adventure and outdoor activities. Unwind on the spectacular landscapes and majestic waterfalls. Make Mpumalanga your holiday destination of choice. Mpumalanga, embrace the unknown, live the adventure. This message is brought to you by the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Visit mpumalanga.com for more information.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Heavy traffic coming into Joburg this morning. We keep a regular eye these days on the M1 North, up from Eldos and Protea Glen, Lenasia. It's a heavy one. It's about as heavy as you can expect it to be, sitting from the N12 Potch Highway up through Deepcliff down towards Uncle Charlie's. The N3 at Sprayview, quite a queue going up towards the Heidelberg Road off-ramp as well. In Pretoria this morning, avoid the R21. There's a big backlog there between Monument Park and Fountain Circle. Durban's N2 North under a bit more pressure than normal today with a break down before Spaghetti Junction. You got the roadworks after Spaghetti Junction. Traffic moving okay through there because all being held up by the breakdown before Spaghetti Junction. So coming through from the M7 Bluff exit, that's all a bit busy. Cape Town, if you drive Mannenberg on the Danafontaine Road, it's a key route linking you to and from the Mitchells Plain and Younger area. Police incident on Danafontaine near Turfwall Road. So basically between the Downs and Turfwall Road, possible diversions for traffic moving through there. And a vehicle on fire a little bit earlier this morning into inbound at Khayelitsha by Meway, just before Meway. It's pushing a heavy queue back to Baden-Powell Drive. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Spurs are counting on the value of 3 points to find a decent position in the top half.
And Richarlison has just tried to lock up in right. Wow, that is extraordinary from Richarlison.
Meanwhile, the Bees want to brighten the day of their fans with a good win.
Jensen opens it up for the Dane. It's Brentford's day. for the third time in 4 seasons.
This is the Premier League. Experience the hot contest between Tottenham Hotspur FC and Brentford FC for Saturday, 6 December at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Tulasizwe Simelane on SAFM.
It's coming up to 5 minutes to 7. As far as public transportation modes are concerned, e-hailing is relatively new, right? Well, a new Ipsos safety index commissioned by Bolt reveals a significant shift in how South Africans perceive transport safety, with ride-hailing emerging as the preferred and most trusted option. The findings show overwhelming confidence in e-hailing, driven by safety features, convenience, and the platform's ability to protect both riders and their loved ones. It's an interesting study. Let's delve into it. Let's speak to Simo Kalajic, who is Senior Operations Manager at Bolt South Africa. Good morning to you, Simo. I hope I didn't butcher your surname too much there. Let's start with just the findings. Tell me what you were looking for and what the study aimed to, to reveal and what it eventually revealed to you.
Good morning to you and your listeners. And question. When we reflect on the study, we start with the biggest insight that come out of it. And the clearest insight is that safety is now the main driver of ride-hailing in South Africa. So are not only using it to just convenience, but they're actively using it to avoid any situation, especially at night or when public transport feels more safe. And when we talk about the study and why we commissioned it to an independent organization, we didn't want assumptions. We wanted real data from South Africans themselves. And that's why we partnered with us, a global independent. They find and analyze the platform and gives us an honest, credible view of how people actually experience safety ride hailing. Can only improve what we understand, and that's why we needed this independent data.
So the figures are staggering. I mean, 90% of ride-hailing users believe that e-hailing services are safer than traditional modes of public transport, such as taxis and buses. What does the study tell you are the elements that build this confidence about safety?
So it's the digital traceability of ride-hailing. When we look at that is value the most, it comes down to the history, the trip, and being able to know the driver is constantly mind and features that we can so people want visibility, people want visibility. That's why these are simple systems. As you provided users all of this and feel.
I wonder, though, if the elements of concern around some incidents that have occurred, either involving the tensions between the e-hailing industry and the minibus taxi industry, or indeed instances where there have been alleged crimes and violations that have been allegedly perpetrated by an e-hailing driver. There have been quite a few incidents. I wonder if those featured anywhere.
So, in terms of features, the incident on the app, we are aware who is try to learn as much from them. Whenever there is an incident that happens, it always triggers an internal review. Want to understand wrong, what features find by right or try to improve the next that come up. How do we build awareness, educate around how do we get all of this users? And then when we talk about the tensions within the greatest of food, yes, we do know that these exist. However, we are working quite closely with regulators to one escalation this needs support ensure have off error transparent transport system. In addition to that, we also have our own engagement with the transport, talking to the likes of Parking, from here. We do want to work together. Then that when it comes to e-hailing space, public transport, we don't replace it. Our role is really option six, especially.
Right. But I thank you for your time this morning. That's Simo Kalajic, who is Senior Operations Manager at Bolt South Africa, talking to us about a new Ipsos study. Well, they commissioned it and Ipsos undertook it. It's called the Ipsos Safety Index, and it's revealed a significant shift in how South Africans perceive transport safety, with e-hailing emerging as the preferred and most trusted option. Brings us to 7 a.m. Let's go over to N Musa, who is on standby with the latest news.
Outsurance is in the business of saving you money on your car insurance premium. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754.
Thanks to us. In our top stories, suspended EMPD chief back before the Madlanga Commission, and Africa Maibuye calls for Commission of Inquiry into black poverty. Good morning. Suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi will continue with his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this morning. His testimony will be followed by that of Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Mchunu, who began his testimony on Tuesday, is expected to also face cross-examination from evidence leaders on the disbandment of the Political Killing Stars team, the PKTT. The PKTT was disbanded on the 31st of December last year. This is a move that various witnesses have testified was unlawful. Sibatle Mota reports.
Mkhwanazi's testimony has centered around the work study that was conducted in 2019. He testified that if the study was implemented, the PKTT would be collapsed under the murder and robbery unit. He told the commission that if National Police Commissioner General Fani Masemola had signed off on the study earlier, then the PKTT would have been dissolved. Mkhwanazi's testimony lays the basis that the disbandment of the PKTT was not immediate but has been a long time coming. This follows the communication he sent out on New Year's Eve last year, where he ordered that the PKTT be dissolved with immediate effect.
The Africa Maibuye movement says it will call for a commission of inquiry into what it calls black poverty. This is part of its program of action as it goes into its inaugural national convention, planned for the University of Johannesburg Soweto campus this weekend. In 2025, the World Bank estimated the poverty rate in South Africa to be around 68%. This despite government's extensive spending on social assistance. Africa Maibuye President Floyd Shivambu says unlike the commissions the country has had, they will ensure their commission's recommendations are binding and are followed through with concrete action.
We need to speak to what causes black poverty and how do we permanently remove black poverty in our communities, because black people continue to be the poorest of all the population groups in South Africa. We have produced a substantial policy position on how these commissions should be handled and how its outcomes should be binding and effective in addressing poverty, instead of the futile commissions that have taken place thus far.
The Daniel Scale Regional Court in the Northern Cape has sentenced a 25-year-old man to 18 years in prison for the rape of two girls between 2019 and 2020. Provincial Police spokesperson Tabo Titepe.
The court held that during December 2019, the victims were playing when the accused led them into a house and sexually assaulted the victims who were between the ages of 7 and 12 years. The incident went on unreported until two of the victims informed their parents during May 2020. The matter was subsequently reported to the police. The three additional victims came forward. 5 separate cases were registered at Daniel Scale Police Station, which led to the arrest of the accused.
The Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation, Sello Sisolo, has criticized the Ngaka Modire Molime district municipality in the northwest for its failure to see to the completion of repairs to the dysfunctional wastewater treatment plant in Sannieshof. Speaking during his inspection of the treatment plant, he confirmed criminal cases have also been opened against the district municipality for the alleged discharge of sewage directly into the Harz River.
We're sitting now with a situation where you might have to build a new plant, decommission the previous one that you had incepted, build a new one. We've already lost millions of rands. And we're sitting with a situation where now, even if you see behind me, there is raw sewage or effluent that is untreated, that is going into the Harz River, that ends up in Wenzel Dam, that is affecting the Babarspan Ramza side, that ultimately ends up in the Vaal River. So we've opened a criminal case against the Ngaka Modire Molema, specifically for this particular pollution of our water resources that is happening behind us. That is obviously being investigated by DFFE as well as ourselves.
In other news, health authorities in Gaza say 5 people have been killed in an Israeli airstrike in the south of the territory. The Israeli military says it had carried out a targeted attack after its soldiers came under fire. The BBC's James Cook has the details.
Medical teams at the Kuwait Field Hospital told the BBC that 5 Palestinians had been killed when Israeli aircraft struck tents and makeshift shelters for displaced families west of Khan Yunis. Several others were wounded, according to the medics. The Israel Defense Forces said they had struck a Hamas terrorist in the southern Gaza Strip in response to a violation of the ceasefire agreement earlier in the day when 5 of its soldiers were injured in a Hamas attack near Rafah. Hamas called the bombing barbaric, indiscriminate and a violation of the US brokered ceasefire, which took effect 7 weeks ago.
Recapping the top stories, suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi will continue with his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this morning. His testimony will be followed by that of Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
OUTsurance will go out of their way to try and save you money on your car insurance. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. You could spend 10 minutes on social media or get a 10-minute quote from OUTsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 GWM P Series, 54-year-old Amos now pays only 1,004 Rand a month. And for his 2024 Toyota Urban Cruiser, 55-year-old Andre pays just 776 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. OUTsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
It's a very good morning to you in your SFM Sports Headlines. Cricket action, the Proteas star Aiden Markram out South Africa to a stunning 4-wicket win over India in Raipur. And in soccer news, frustration for KZN after a goalless draw with Chippa United. All the details just before 7:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Very good morning. Let's save you some time in the traffic. If you're going into Pretoria, avoid the R21 Monument Park through to Fountain Circle. There's a big queue that is just continuing to grow. Stay off the R21 North this morning and get onto some alternatives. Local routes are open and flowing. The N1 North coming up from Protea Glen, Lenasia, Eldorado Park, very heavy backlogs again, getting up through difficult down to Uncle Charlie's, perhaps the heaviest it's been this week so far. From Protea Glen, a reroute through Soweto. From Lenasia, a reroute out through Aikenoff Kibble Park will work nicely. N3 North at Sprayview, quite heavy as well as you line up towards Joburg. Durban, a breakdown before Spaghetti Junction, so extra pressure coming up the N2 with queues getting back towards that cement factory territory. And Cape Town, a vehicle fire, N2 inbound before Muway at Khayelitsha, pushing traffic queues back to Baden-Powell. Baden-Powell and Spine Road are particularly heavy trying to get in to that N2 inbound queue. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The Morning Brief, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
8 minutes after 7, it's coming up to 9 minutes after 7. Welcome to it, the second hour of the Morning Brief. On this Thursday, it is great to be in your company. Among some of what we will tell you over the next hour or so, we'll be focusing on the state of health, firstly, of our democracy. So we'll be talking about the trends as observed by the Electoral Commission South Africa, the IEC, in as far as voter apathy is concerned. And there are some real concerns that are coming through that strike at the heart of the credibility of our democratic project. At the rate at which we are going, it would seem that the concept of majority rule, which is a key tenet of democracy, may be flipped on its head in the sense that the minority of eligible voters could soon be deciding for all of us, basically, because they participate while the rest of us stay at home. So, in the next few minutes, we'll have a conversation with Lulu White, the CEO of Elections Management and Consulting Agency. And that's coming up in the next few minutes. Speaking of health, then, we'll also talk about the state of health in as far as the health system itself is concerned. Two reports coming through from the Health Ombud that make for concerning reading. One has to do with what happened at the Pietersburg Polokwane Hospital and just the care failures that occurred at that hospital, leading to the death of a patient. I mean, things as basic as triage. You would expect when you see someone in a hospital clad in healthcare worker uniform, you have confidence, right? You believe that they know what they are doing. But this report tells us that in some instances, nurses did not even have an understanding of the concept of triage, which is the preliminary assessment of patients and casualties to determine what kind of help is needed and how urgent it is. We are told in this report that at that hospital, at least, that was not even understood by some nurses. This patient waited a good 4 hours for a file to be opened, let alone being seen by anyone, with the result that that situation arose where that patient passed on. So we'll be in conversation with Professor Taule Mokoena, who is the health ombud, and that conversation is coming up at about 7:20. And then a bit later on in this hour, we'll be focusing on all things to do with television, right? A number of your favorite international television channels may be on the verge of being removed from your digital subscription. They include, I'm quickly scrolling through here now, they include such channels as your CNN, Discovery Channel, Investigation Discovery, the Food Network, and the likes. You may soon be losing those, and we'll tell you why, and we'll have a conversation about that, and that will be coming up with Tinas Ferreira at about 10 to 8 this morning. Your calls 086 000 2032. Your WhatsApp voice notes 0614 104 107. Let's get into it. The second hour of the morning brief on this Thursday.
Stay on top of all meaningful, top trending stories right here on SAFM. Leading the conversation.
12 minutes after 7. The country is once again staring into the dark mirror of its health system as the Health Ombud lays bare the chain of care failures that cost two men their lives, with the most alarming breakdowns unfolding at Pietersburg Polokwane Hospital. The Ombud's report paints a grim picture at PPTH, a patient waiting nearly 4 hours before a file was opened, nurses unfamiliar with triage, untrained staff thrust into critical roles, doctors who left before patients were seen, and an observation room stripped of essential equipment. And then a bit later on, in the second report, the Ombud also flags troubling documentation lapses at the Wits Donald Gordon Medical Center, the focus of the second investigation. A reminder that service and care lapses in both the public and private sector are not without, at times, fatal consequences. Let's speak to Professor Taule Mokoena, who is the Health Ombud, who joins us now. Good morning to you, Prof, and thank you for your time. Let's start with this incident at the Pietersburg Polokwane Tertiary Hospital. Just what is the confluence of factors that led to the death of this patient? Prof, can you hear me? Prof Mokoena?
Hello?
Yes, we've got you now. Yes, so I was asking, what is the confluence of factors that were critical in leading to the death of the patient at the Pietersburg Polokwane Hospital?
It's a number of factors. If not serious, where there was a comedy of errors. In the first instance, patient went to community health center, Tabil.
Yes, Prof. Do we still have you?
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead.
I have you. And I was saying that the patient went to the Tabil community center first. And then when he got there, he had to wait, as you said, 4 hours before the file could be opened for him. And then that's the one thing. So there was a delay at that level. And number two is that once he was seen by the nurses, uh,
Prof?
yes,
Yes, please go ahead. You were saying once he was seen by the nurses?
once he was seen by the nurses, they referred him to be examined by the doctor. But the doctors were left for the day before he was seen. And then he was then referred to Polokwane Provincial Hospital. And then when he arrived there, okay, he was seen on time, but he was seen by nurses that were not really qualified to do triage and prioritize patients, as we have already stated. However, the crux of the issue is that the doctor who was an intern actually recognized what the problem was, meaning he had adhesive small bowel obstruction, and then referred the patient to the surgical unit because this.
Prof. Mukwana, do we still have you?
I have you.
Yes.
If you are calling via WhatsApp,
Yes.
maybe they should.
No, we can hear you clearly,
should
Prof,
call.
but let's push on because we can hear you clearly. It's when you pause that we seem to have a bit of a misunderstanding whether we still have you or not. But as far as the line is concerned, it's absolutely clear. We do hear you. So tell me what this reveals, because you mentioned Retabile Primary Healthcare Center, the clinic, and the transfer to the hospital. What does it reveal about the pressures in the public health system? Because ideally, these systems should feed into each other seamlessly such that there's proper prioritization from the moment a person walks into a local clinic to when they're first seen by a doctor in a tertiary hospital. Prof. Taule Mokoena?
Yes.
I don't know if you caught my question. Yeah.
Got your question. I'm saying that it's better if we dial on the normal rather than WhatsApp, because the line or whatever on WhatsApp it's unfair.
Yeah.
It's unstable.
Prof, let me assure you, from our side, we are hearing you loud and clear. So if you don't mind, just go straight to responding to the question that I've asked. There's absolutely no issue with the line. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, now the community, I was saying that the community center sees about 300 people a day, and that that institution, there are not enough computers to capture and process patients, and there are fewer people clerks to do this work, which is why he waited for. And then I said that.
Prof, please go ahead.
The doctors had left. Now, when he got to the Polokwane Provincial Hospital, he was seen by the interns, which made a correct assessment and referred the patient to the surgeon. But the surgeons took a bit of time to see the patient for a variety of reasons. But And then once they saw the patient, they decided that they will undertake a non-operative management. Now, and then he was not seen for 21 hours on this kind of management regimen, whereas in principle, he should have been seen every hour to 2 hours, see whether there's no progression. Now, the fate of all of this is that he then complicated without being seen by any doctor.
Lastly, Prof, what remedies do you recommend to fix these failures that led to this death?
Number of remedies. First of all, is that the people at the coal face who triage must be trained, must understand, so that they can prioritize this. Number one. Number two is that the doctors must be monitored such that they don't leave. Because these doctors, they left by 3:30 in the afternoon, leaving patients there at the clinic. And that should be an oversight for management.
All right, Prof.
Working pattern.
Yeah. All right, Prof. I've got to thank you
And
for your
that-
time.
All right.
Yeah, I've got to thank you for your time this morning. That's Professor Taule Mokoena, who is the health ombud. A bit of difficulty here and there, but I think we got enough from that conversation, from the work that the health ombud has done at the Petersburg Polokwane Tertiary Hospital. That was the one investigation. Because of the difficulties we were having with the conversation, we could not get to the second element, which is the second investigation, which had to do with an incident at the Wits Donald Gordon Medical Center. We'll see if it's possible to rearrange and perhaps have that conversation and take it further.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Call to Lasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
All right, let's take some of your reactions to the conversations that we've started this morning. Someone wants to talk about nursing as a practice, but also the realities of nursing in the context of that report that we were talking about with Professor Taule Mokoena a couple of minutes ago.
Morning, Bishop from Kimberley. You know, day that people just take the nursing profession because they are unemployed. There's a high rate of unemployment. There's no passion for the profession. People are not passionate about of just employment and the negligence that we are. That's my thing around issue. You must just see how our nurses treat patients. As if they are as that state a person also.
Yeah.
So it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, no, it really is. That's a sad indictment that you make there of the state of nursing as a profession. And this is not to paint all nurses. My goodness, do we have some incredible nurses in both the public and the private sector. But I take the point that you are making that there's quite a number of people that have entered the profession who don't really have that passion for it, for care for patients. I take the point that you are making. In fact, the health minister, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, is calling for serious punitive measures and says, and I quote here, this needs very serious punitive measures for other people to see that they shouldn't do something like this to any other patient or any other human being. That is a quote from the health minister, Aaron Motsoaledi. But the flip side of it are the pressures that have been introduced in the system by cuts to budgets and resources that are not available. Some of what Professor Taule Mukwena was talking to, the number of patients that a local clinic will see, and the strain under which many of these nurses and doctors work. That is also a factor over and above all these other considerations about passion and the standard of care of these professionals. Let me take one or two. There's one that wants to respond to the appearance at the Madlanga Commission of Julius Mkhwanazi.
Good morning, Tulas. That Madlanga Commission is very, very hot. For a man to finish a whole 6 stick of water in no time at all. Yeah, I think he must have been feeling the heat. You went there thinking that now he's just going to do the thing he normally does with everyone else, and everybody listens. That commission is hot.
Yeah.
Andrew from Butterworth.
Andrew, thank you for that. Well, he's hydrating. At least he's keeping it healthy as he faces those questions. Let's see how it transpires this morning, because as I said, they will be starting at about 8:30 to accommodate him finishing his testimony. As Kenny Mapanga was telling us, they really could not move much beyond the point of the installation of the blue lights and the various contracts with companies linked to Vusumuzi, Cat Matlala. They couldn't get to the crux of the allegations of a rogue unit involved in all sorts of crimes that we are told that he headed up and actually assisted in covering up. Let me play one more voice note on that theme.
Good morning, Julius. Just want to comment on Julius Mkhwanazi. For me, I think Julius Mkhwanazi is not, let me use the literacy level. It's not good enough to be the commissioner of police. So some of these things that was happening were out of ignorance, were out of lack of knowledge, because you can see that he is not properly qualified to fit in that office. So yeah, there is a lot of irregularities. We need also to go back and check the people who appointed him to be a cop actually. How we enter level of him in a cop, up to rising to those posts.
Yeah.
This is my 2 cents. Thank you, Inspector.
Lawrence, thank you for that. I take the point you're making about his suitability and qualification for positions of leadership in the police. I thought you were making a different point, which I thought you were talking about whether or not it's a question of his English in expressing himself, but it's not the point you are making. On that point, though, if I digress for a moment, I get the point about his English, but I don't think that's the issue we're dealing with. I think it's an issue of credibility in whatever language. I strongly believe that even if you were to say to him, get an interpreter, say what you are saying in isiZulu, this guy or this lady will interpret for you. The result will be exactly the same, because it's not language. It is it's a moving goalpost of what the truth is that is frustrating the commissioners as well as the evidence leaders. Let's see how he fares on day 2 of his testimony.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
Good morning, good morning. We're switching from the power of words to the power of this man's performance. Aiden Markram powering the Proteas to a record 4-wicket run chase against India in Raipur, squaring the ODI series at 1-all. Markram's 106 anchored South Africa's third highest successful chase of 359. Key support, though, he got from Matthew Breitker and Theobald Brevis. Soccer action, Mamelodi Sundowns dropped points with a 1-1 draw against Tuwelele, staying second on the log. Kaiser Chiefs were held 0-0 by bottom side Tipper United, slipping to fifth, and Stellenbosch fell 2-1 at home. Polokwane City and hovered just above the relegation zone. Now, Orlando Pirates winger Osborne Apollos has already made a big impact in his first season at the Buccaneers. Now he's gearing up for his second cup final in black and white. But with Marumo Galan standing in the way in Saturday's Carling Knockout final, Apollos says they're taking nothing for granted.
Obviously, like I said, would be a special moment, for us to win this trophy, But like I said, Marumo Gallants is a very strong team, and we don't go there and undermining them, It's our job to obviously work more hard as them to get the trophy.
Moving to more soccer abroad, Arsenal kept it clinical with a 2-0 win over Brentford, while Aston Villa a thrilling 7-goal contest away at Brighton. Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest both secured narrow 1-0 victories on the road. Leeds United stunning Chelsea 3-1 at Ellen Road. Liverpool were held to a 1-1 draw by Sunderland at Anfield. On to rugby, the Rugby World Cup 2027 draw in Australia to set up a Springbok All Black quarterfinal showdown. South Africa headlined Pool B with Italy, Georgia, and Romania, while New Zealand sits in Pool A with host Australia. And if both giants top their pools and progress, they will meet in the last eight. And that's your sports stories. We'll be back top of the hour, tackling more. I'm Zai Khan.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, the Nkabinde inquiry is set to hear more evidence from the NPA head, Advocate Shamila Batoy, on why she referred the matter of Advocate Andrew Chauke to President Cyril Ramaphosa. The inquiry is probing Chauke's fitness to hold office. Suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi will continue with his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry this morning. His testimony will be followed by that of Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. And thousands of Itala Bank customers are expected to start having access to their funds from Monday through a new banking institution. National Treasury will make up to 2.2 billion rand available for the payouts from the 8th of this month at FNB branches. I'll have details on these and other stories at 8.
SAFM traffic with momentum. Just as you plan your route, only 15% of households plan for retirement. Plan yours today. Speak to a Momentum accredited financial advisor for advice that meets your context.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. If you drive up into Pretoria Central, stay away from the R21. There's a massive backlog of traffic between Monument Park and Fountain Circle. You've got options like Buerta Avenue. You've got options like the off-ramp at Rigel to work your way up into Pretoria that way. Just stay off the R21. You'll be queued there for some time. Crash on Joburg's N3 North at Van Buren. So delays coming up from Germiston and the N1 from Eldorado Park through Devlin up to Deepcliff Interchange. Absolutely jam-packed. Durban, the breakdown on the N2 going north at Spaghetti Junction has been cleared. So it's just left that sort of normal backlog from the M7 through the interchange and up towards Westwood Mall. The M4 at Clarewood, Rochborough area on your way inbound around the M7 highway. That's quite slow today. And Cape Town, just generally busy, particularly on the N2, a vehicle fire at Khayelitsha by Meway, still pushing traffic back as far as Baden-Powell Drive. And if you come off the N1 highway at Yipdiyaga, turning south on Mike Pina, it looks like lights are down at Voortrekker. That's quite a heavy delay passing the hospital as you make your way from the highway down through towards Parow. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
Momentum is part of the Momentum Group Limited, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
The Business Update on SAFM.
Good morning to you once again in Dowling. In this update, let's start with business confidence. Which way is it headed? Talk to me about what transpired in quarter four.
So business confidence picking up pace in quarter plus, offering a welcome break of 2 quarters of slippage. The latest RMB, the our business confidence index sentiment rising to 44, signaling that almost half of surveyed firms health conditions had improved towards the end of the year. Economists say the lift of 9% had encouraging 0.5% quarterly GDP increase, hinting that activity is beginning to recover after mid-year weakness. Now, a series of favorable developments supported the shift in the mood, including South Africa's exit from the grey list, S&P ratings upgrade, and a generally stable currency and interest rate backdrop. Inflation pressures softened, giving companies some breathing room. Most sectors shared in the improvement. Manufacturing saw the biggest jump in confidence, while retail, wholesale, and vehicle dealers also reported healthier sentiment. Building contractors were the only group to decline, though actual activity continued to firm. Analysts caution, however, that the rebound remains tentative. Sustained momentum and continued economic reform will be important, essential to turn this thing into a lasting recovery.
In the financial services sector, I see lots of movement around Alex Forbes. Tell me about it.
So Alex Forbes may be headed for another major reshuffle in its shareholder base. This comes as U.S. insurer Prudential Financial weighs a possible exit, a move that raises questions about long-term strategic direction. Country's largest pension fund administrator that is. Prudential, which bought its stake only 3 years ago and now holds about a third of the company, has quietly informed African Rainbow Capital, the controlling shareholder, and Alex Forbes that it's reviewing its position. While no formal process is underway, the development produces a note of uncertainty at a time when Alex Forbes deep into a strategic reset under CEO Davi de Villiers, who has been selling non-core assets and steering the business back towards advisory and retail services. For now, Prudential says keenly evaluates its investment, while ARC and Alex Forbes have declined to comment. Some minority shareholders, however, say they've yet to be formally briefed, further showing how early the discussions still are.
What's moving and shaping the markets at this hour, Dowling?
Starting in Asia, trade mostly in the green, with Japan's Nikkei gains, Japan's Nikkei percent. Robot maker Philips rose over 13%, leading the gains on the Nikkei. Now, the company's share price has surged more than 19% this week after it announced a partnership with NVIDIA for the development of industrial robots. Then moving over to Wall Street, futures are choppy this morning, while traders are digesting softer labor data. Also looking ahead to the delayed PCE figures out tomorrow. That print being the fifth preferred measure, so all eyes on that. And then back at home, trade was positive with the all share closing 0.45% higher. The rand also upbeat, trading at 17.06 to the greenback this hour. Over in commodities, oil making gains as Ukraine peace talk deals falter, further easing supply glut concerns. Brent is trading above $62 per barrel.
Always right on the money, and I mean always. That is our Dowling Lechela. Look out for one more update from her, and that's coming up just after 8:30 here on the Morning Brief.
SAFM supports a litter-free South Africa. Play your part in keeping our surroundings and environment clean. SAFM, leading the conversation. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane.
All right, 22 minutes to 8. The Department of Public Service and Administration has revealed new data showing that foreign nationals make up less than 0.5% of the country's public servants. While their presence is small, these workers are heavily concentrated in critical sectors such as education and healthcare, areas grappling with significant skills shortages and high staff turnover. As government moves to tighten regulations governing the employment of foreign nationals, questions about capacity skills gaps and the broader challenges facing the public service have come to the fore. Let's speak to Dr. Anusha Naidu, Chief Director for Human Resources Planning, Employment and Performance Management, and that is at the Department of Public Service and Administration. Good morning to you, Doc, and thank you for your time. So give us a broader picture of the employment of foreign nationals within the public service. What figures are we talking about? We're saying less than 0.5%. Put that in context for us.
Thank you very much. Yes. So foreign nationals constitute only 4% of the public. So this is approximately of 1.2 million term 1.4 million would have countries public. Confirms then South Africans remain overwhelmingly employed and foreign professionals in like your continuity. This includes as an example clinical, technical, or rural local city. So follow legal public and public regulation. So this system is control. The system is compliant. In a, to protect this or at the same time we see benefits of workers.
Right.
So what we
Yeah, so I was going to say a bit more then about the critical nature of the skills that are driving the employment of foreign nationals within the public service. Let's start with education. Many people will have, the retort would be that, well, we train many South African teachers. What are the gaps that are being plugged by the employment of foreign nationals that you consider to be critical?
I think when you look at education or look at tech, South Africa is not a to effort. So these are the largest public service sector where you would have employment. And her particular skills where we would have in the such as science and even with certain needs. And as I indicate, although they may be in the area, in rural, these times 8 years now, example, I have gone to test and acquired the necessary qualification, a particular skills, math, science. At the same time, education in a that is to be up need.
Yeah.
But what is still important must be that, the scenario could play out in the health. But at the same time, foreign is only used, only used when the not as a substitute for South African profession. So root cause shock. And I think this is killing of shortages of graduate programs, internships, and new pathways for young close to these priorities of education, etc. So much is, and you would report that it's been leading.
Yeah.
It's or capable.
Yeah, and we focus on those two sectors, education and health, because they make up the bulk of that figure of 6,333, with 2,305 being employed in education and 2,625 in the health sector. But there's another interesting insight. There's commentary being made by the work and the numbers that you released that suggests that you have difficulty in attracting South Africans to rural and underserved areas. Is that the case? And why is that in a context where, we've heard of special dispensations being made to try and attract and lure teachers, doctors, and nurses to rural areas, but you continue to battle with that issue of attracting South African professionals to these rural and underserved areas?
To rural and remote areas, certainly, there is, especially with ethic, where example is, say, for your medical urban, where there are these school work as an example, opportunities with partners, children, and access to work. So some of the challenges, as a result, post in rural districts can remain vacant longer. And there is school, healthcare, engineering, specialized teaching, and so the ability also attracting, right? It's probably in 2020, every vote of urban presents dying, quality, perhaps, a rural. So government, what we target, rural allowance, community scheming to ensure that people living in rural areas receive services, those cities, those
Yeah.
of efforts and effort, those cities
All
more
right.
urban.
All right, let's leave it there. Fascinating insights there coming through from the figures from the Department of Public Service and Administration. Dr. Anusha Naidu is Chief Director for Human Resources Planning, Employment, and Performance Management.
Do great solutions start with good conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Majority rules, a key tenet of electoral democracy, is possibly on the verge of being flipped on its head. At the rate at which we are going, we may, as a country, be headed for minority rules. The IEC is raising a serious red flag, warning that fewer than half of eligible South Africans plan to vote in the 2026 local elections, a slide that threatens the very credibility of our democratic project. Let's speak to Lulu White, CEO of Elections Management and Consulting Agency. In fact, I'm told we'll come back to that conversation a bit later on. But the conversation we do want to bring you now has to do with some major shifts in as far as your viewing patterns are concerned. Certainly, if you are a MultiChoice subscriber, and that's because MultiChoice's long-running channel carriage battle with Warner Bros. Discovery has reached a breaking point. On Tuesday, MultiChoice confirmed that 12 WBD-owned TV channels, including Discovery Channel, CNN International, Cartoon Network, and Food Network, will be removed from DSTV on 31st December this year, affecting subscribers in South Africa and across the African continent. Let's speak to Tinas Ferreira, independent TV critic, writer, and journalist in this country, as well as a top pop culture and media expert. Good morning to you, Tinas, and thank you for your time as always. Is it a done deal? Is it a given? Nothing can be done to salvage these 12 channels?
Although MultiChoice is saying it is a done deal, I think it is a little bit of brinkmanship. The contract only runs out at the end of December, so the two sides still have time to negotiate and get to some kind of a deal. I would think it will happen because it is too much content that people who pay for television will suddenly lose, and that is what the business of something like DSTV is. The sad thing is, it's not just these 12 channels. There's 4 channels that people who pay for television are definitely going to lose, and that is already Paramount's 4 channels. People might not know Paramount, but you might know names like BET Africa, MTV Base, and then the CBS Justice and CBS Reality channels. Paramount decided it's no longer interested in Africa. Spending money and investing here in the television industry is not worth its while. So it's closing down those 4 channels. So that's not a negotiation. They just decided not making those channels available anymore, also taking them away. MTV and those kinds of channels from other countries like Australia and the UK. So South Africans are definitely losing those 4 channels. And then on top of those 4, these negotiations with Warner about the other 12. So definitely 4, but up to 16 channels that we might not have.
That would fundamentally change paid television subscriptions, wouldn't it? I mean, if you lose these 12 plus those 4, what are you left with?
You're left with having to pay the same for getting less. And yes, subscribers will simply not stand for that. You mentioned a few of the names. For every single person who pays for television, there's your favorite. And it's different for everybody. So for me, it might be CNN. For you, it's Cartoon Network because you have kids. For the grandma, it's maybe Food Network. So when you lose that channel, you make the calculation, what am I paying for? My thing that I like the most is taken away, and then you cancel. Canal Plus, the French company that bought out MultiChoice recently, sort of had a big struggle with what they bought. Since MultiChoice lost 2.8 million subscribers over the past 2 years, since March 2023. Now you can think, if you lose more channels, it has a very sort of vicious cycle effect where you then also lose subscribers, which means less revenue, which means less money to pay to have channels. So it's really in the interest of Warner and of MultiChoice to keep the channels that exist in this bundle together, because the less you have, the less interest you're going to have from customers.
Is the challenge, though, Thinas, not that perhaps these companies, your MultiChoice, Canal Plus, Warner, and Paramount and the likes, are fishing from an ever-drying pond? People who still watch TV, the traditional digital subscription method, as opposed to a shift towards streaming on-demand television, as well as catching up on news through other platforms, social media, and the likes.
You're so right. You're absolutely right. It is a declining business, but it's still a very lucrative business. So the challenge would be not to do these sort of self-inflicting errors like pushing your thumb into someone's eye, although it is a mistake, because it's in a sense preventable. So although you're dealing with a diminishing business, it is still a very good business for the time being. So sort of predicated on the partners, the channel suppliers plus the operator like a DSTV, to work together to get to some kind of a deal where you don't sort of antagonize and anger your existing customers. Try and keep them happy. Try and keep the bundle and the business together instead of fighting.
Right. Thank you for that, as always. That's Thinas Ferreira, independent TV critic, writer, and journalist, as well as a pop culture and media expert.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Morning, Pretoria's R21, very heavy. Monument Park through to Fountain Circle this morning. Take alternative routes to avoid a monster queue on that R21 northbound. Also, into Pretoria East, Solomon Mshlangu heading to Lois. So coming from Delmas Road, going up to Lois Avenue. That's very slow as well. An unusual backlog there. Breakdown N1 South at Olifantsfontein Road, just starting to slow things up. Traffic lights down New Road at the N1, so some additional delays coming out of Midrand. And if you're driving into Sandton, the Mike 1's pretty heavy today from Buccleuch all the way down to Marlborough Drive. The N1 North from Eldos up through Dibcliff to Uncle Charlie stays heavy, and we're packed out on the N3 North passing Spraitview towards Heidelberg Road in that Germiston area. Durban, the breakdown before Spaghetti Junction. M2 North is being cleared, so got the normal sort of backlog from the M7 just moving through the junction up towards Westwood Mall. The M4 at Umbilo going in, that's quite slow today. Cape Town, a crash on the R44 Broadway Boulevard at Main Road. That's by Lord Charles Hotel. If you're coming around from Strand over the N2 up towards that crash scene, that's quite heavy. And a vehicle fire on the N2 inbound at Muway Khayelitsha, still causing delays from Baden-Powell Drive. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
Call to Lasizwe now. 086 000 2032.
All right, let's go straight to your calls. Let me start with David in Pietermaritzburg, wanting to respond and react to the conversation we were having a few minutes ago about the levels of employment of foreign nationals in the public service. Good morning to you, David.
Thanks, Marcos. Your guest is misleading us. One, David, if you look at the issue of unemployed doctors, this organization,
yes,
they've been saying it numerous times that it's a lie that they don't want to go and work in the rural areas. They've declared. So what you are saying about people being reluctant to go and work in rural areas, but I'm not surprised because he's in India. One of the friends about it.
No, David, wait. Wait, David, please hear me out. No, you are not going to generalize and say you are not surprised that she's lying because she's Indian. You are not going to do that. So restructure your argument and I will hear you. Restructure your argument and I will hear you.
Allow me to substantiate.
Yes, restructure it.
Allow me to.
You're not going to substantiate that she's lying because she's Indian. You are not going to do that. Restructure your argument.
Okay.
Yes.
Allow me.
Thank you.
You know, if you look at the number of unemployed, and if you go to private hospitals here in Durban surrounding, you can even Google on the site. You find that maybe out of 30 doctors that are there, doctors, only 2. You can Google all the private doctors that are there. So, and the statistician is on record. The unemployment is no longer affecting Indians and white people. For white people, I think it's only 7%. So when you come back on the issue of employing foreigners, there's a requirement that it states that a letter is written to a Minister of Labour stating the case that they're trying to employ black people, they can't find them. Therefore, they are requesting that a foreigner be employed and not permanent. And it was declared in one of the parliamentary sessions involving the institutions of higher learning, where I think it's the vice chancellor declared that the letter was not written. How many of them have they written those
David,
letters requesting
I've heard you.
to meet the requirement of employing the foreigner?
Gotcha.
So that's
David,
what I'm saying is lying. He doesn't feel the pain that is felt.
gotcha.
People, if you listen to
David, I've got to move on. Thank you for that. That's David out in Pietermaritzburg. Let's move on to Kwezi in Qumbu. Good morning to you, Kwezi. Baba, are you well? Ngiyaphila.
So, Tulas, I want to highlight the salient takeaways from the Mashanga Commission so far. As South Africans, we have long been about patronage from the part of the politicians. Why? The patronage gives you a fleeting glory, which is rather temporary. And it has served to weaken our public institutions, especially. I'm saying this in the light of the reflections that have been made. The most recent one. I believe put aside his command of,
Yes.
but I believe there are many capable people, black and white, in the
Mm.
who are capable of executing some important responsibilities in our
Mm. Mm.
but because politicians and executives want to reinforce their stranglehold in power,
Yeah.
they end up appointing people who are not capable, people who will have to reinforce their stranglehold.
I hear you
Which
loud
is
and clear.
completely wrong. So we need to have a radical shift from patronage appointments
Sure.
and make appointments based on merit.
100%.
Thanks to
Kwezi, thank you for that. I find nothing to quibble with in what Kwezi is submitting there. And that is part of the value, isn't it? That there's going to be those findings that are made about whether or not a person participated in criminal conduct. That's one thing. But the political judgment that went into appointing some of the people that we are seeing being showcased now, because a lot of them were operating in areas and in pockets of the state at a local level, at a provincial level, and elsewhere that you and I may not have been exposed to on a daily basis. And now you're seeing them live on TV, English or no English, really doesn't matter. You are now watching them accounting for what they do and how they do it. And you realize that, there's a lot that's gone wrong in how we recruit for some of these really critical positions within our government. I'll take more of your calls and WhatsApp voice notes a bit later on. But for now, let's go straight to N. Musa on standby with the latest news.
OUTsurance is in the business of saving you money on your car insurance premium. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754.
In our top stories, Batoy questioned over role in opinion on suspended advocate Chauke and suspended EMPD chief back before the Madlanga Commission. Good morning. The Nkabinde inquiry is set to hear more evidence from NPA head advocate Shamila Batoy on why she referred the matter of advocate Andrew Chauke to President Cyril Ramaphosa. The inquiry is probing Chauke's fitness to hold office. The suspended South Gauteng prosecution's head faces allegations of breaching NPA policies in high-profile cases. Yesterday, inquiry chair, retired Justice Blessing Nkabinde, questioned Batoy's decision, noting it ignored a Supreme Court of Appeal ruling and advice from a senior NPA official.
My understanding is that it did not absolve Advocate Chauke.
An appellate court has pronounced on a matter, and we seem to go against that decision. Did the SCA get it wrong?
We're not saying the SCA got it wrong, but we do not agree that it absolves Advocate Chauke's conduct.
The SCA spoke of the conduct of Advocate Chauke not being irrational. If his conduct was not irrational, it absolves him. I want to understand what is it that the SCA said which disfavored Advocate Chauke.
Meanwhile, Advocate Batoy's legal counsel wants the terms of reference of the inquiry amended to accommodate further charges against Chauke. Judge Nkabinde has, however, advised the team to approach the president in this regard.
If we need not consider your request, the option is to start where the NPA started, by approaching the president. The terms of reference are clear. Matters of amendment fall within the space of the president, not necessarily us. But if we are to consider all the things that you are, the allegation or amendments in your request, it should be put in a proper application so that we can consider that. I need not explain myself further. I think all of you know what I'm about.
Suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi will continue with his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria this morning. His testimony will be followed by that of Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Mchunu, who began his testimony on Tuesday, is expected to also face cross-examination from evidence leaders on the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team, the PKTT. The PKTT was disbanded on the 31st of December last year. This is a move that various witnesses have testified was unlawful. Sibahle Mota reports.
Mkhunu's testimony has centered around the work study that was conducted in 2019. He testified that if the study was implemented, the PKTT would be collapsed under the murder and robbery unit. He told the commission that if National Police Commissioner General Fani Masemola had signed off on the study earlier, then the PKTT would have been dissolved. Mkhunu's testimony lays the basis that the disbandment of the PKTT was not immediate but has been a long time coming. This follows the communication he sent out on New Year's Eve last year, where he ordered that the PKTT be dissolved with immediate effect.
The Senzo Mehiwa murder trial at the High Court in Pretoria is expected to resume this morning after proceedings abruptly ended to allow Defence Counsel Charles Mnisi to consult with a medical practitioner. 5 men are on trial for the 2014 murder of the Bafana Bafana captain. The court was expected to hear arguments on the admissibility of Sfiso Zungu's statement. However, proceedings were interrupted over security concerns. Advocate Mnisi says he was not in the right state of mind after allegations that the defence could also be investigated for their alleged involvement in the conspiracy to eliminate key role players in the investigation.
I am mentally not fit subsequent to those allegations that were made against me. So if the court is forcing me to proceed despite the fact...
What do you mean I'm forcing you?
No.
What do you mean I'm forcing you?
My Lord, I am being expected to proceed with this trial despite these allegations that have been raised against me. As I've told to the court, I am mentally affected.
If you want to go and consult a psychologist, a doctor, fine. But you can't say open-handedly that you can't continue the case.
I think I will have to go consult today.
Thousands of Vitala Bank customers are expected to start having access to their funds from Monday through a new banking institution. National Treasury will make up to 2.2 billion rand available for payouts at FNB branches. In January, the South African Reserve Bank's Prudential Authority applied for the bank's liquidation after it was declared insolvent. More than 250,000 customers have not had access to their funds for about a year. KwaZulu-Natal Premier Tamin Tuli says payments will not be made all at once, but they're confident customers will have access to their money by Christmas.
We have reached an agreement with the National Treasury to come on board on the issue of the guarantee, and they have confirmed that on the 8th of December, the depositors will have to access their deposits, but the plan is that there will be communication through SMSs to the depositors so that they will be able to go and have their money.
Recapping the top story, the Nkabinde inquiry is set to hear more evidence from the NPA head advocate Shamila Batoy on why she referred the matter of Advocate Andrew Chauke to President Cyril Ramaphosa. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
OUTsurance will go out of their way to try and save you money on your car insurance. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. You could spend 10 minutes waiting for that file to download. Or get a 10-minute quote from OUTsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 Ford Ranger, 57-year-old Andy now pays only 1,083 Rand a month. And for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson, 48-year-old Felicity pays just 836 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. OUTsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
It's a very good morning to you. In your SFM Sport headline, soccer, Orlando Pirates remain grounded ahead of the Carling knockout final, with Osborne Apollos warning against the threat posed by Marumo Galan. Then we have cricket. The former Proteas women captain, Dene van Niekerk, says her comeback is about chasing World Cup glory. We'll have details just before 8:30.
SAFM guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
One of our top stories been the check on the R21 from Monument Park heading into Fountain Circle. This is for Pretoria-bound traffic. A short time ago, length of the queue there is 28 minutes, and the average speed is about 6 kilometres an hour. Stay off the R21 from that Solomon Mshlangu exit as you make your way up into Fountain Circle. It is very heavy. Also off the highways, but staying in Pretoria, Solomon Mshlangu moving around to Delphi into Pretoria East. That is quite slow going as well. N3 north into Buccleuch, south into London Road, jam-packed as usual. The roadworks continue there, and the N1 north through Dipcliffe to Uncle Charlie stays busy as well. Expect some delays coming to Durban at Marion Hill Plaza. We've seen that every day this week, and it is just starting to build up and backlog again. Also, the other big problem around Durban is the run from Verulam and Palm View, the Chris Hani R102 option. The R102 coming from JG Champion down towards Phoenix Highway, so down towards Mount Edgecombe. So really big backlog of traffic to work through there today. Cape Town, earlier vehicle fire. N2 inbound at Meway still causing delays, pushing a queue back to Baden-Powell Drive. N2 out of town through Somerset West is quite heavy, and the R44 Broadway Boulevard from Strand up towards the N2 being held by an earlier crash by Lord Charles Hotel. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The Morning Brief, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
10 minutes after 8. Welcome to the third hour of the Morning Brief on SAFM 104 to 107. But as always, we are live on our digital platforms on safm.co.za, on social media, that is on YouTube, where we are SAFM Radio, and as well as on Facebook and X, where we are at SAFM Radio, live for you all the time. So I want to keep this very brief because we do need to, curtail the program somewhat because of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry starting a bit earlier than usual, and that's coming up at about 8:30. So let me briefly tell you what's coming up between now and then. We'll have an interview, we'll have a conversation with Unathi Sonti, the executive chairperson of the Maritime Business Chamber. We are talking about South Africa returning to the International Maritime Organization Council for the 2026-2027 year, those 2 years. And it's hailed as a milestone that has been welcomed by various role players, including the Maritime Business Chamber. We'll talk to that in the next few minutes. And then after that, we'll try and squeeze in as many of your calls and WhatsApp voice notes as possible until, of course, the Madlanga Commission takes over at 8:30. So that's how it is looking over the next hour. Let's get into it. The third hour of the Morning Brief.
You could spend 10 minutes waiting for that file to download, or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 Ford Ranger, 57-year-old Andy now pays only 1,083 Rand a month. And for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson, 48-year-old Felicity pays just 836 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. JCs and information online.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 Rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
I don't love going to school. I don't love sitting in a classroom with 50 other children. But I do love learning. Ndiyakuthanda ukufunda isiXhosa as a language. I do love getting good grades. I do love UCT Online High School because I do love my future. Apply online before 19 December.
This week on BBC Primetime, watching TV could make you a winner. It's the BBC Primetime Watch and Win competition. Just tune into your BBC Primetime shows, answer a few simple questions on S3's TikTok account, and you could walk away with awesome prizes. From thrilling dramas to jaw-dropping reality shows, the more you watch, the more chances you have to win. Watch, answer, win. Only on BBC Primetime. Airs weeknights 9 to 11 p.m. on S3. Your couch just became the best seat in the game.
Thulasizwe Simelane on SAFM.
14 minutes after 8. South Africa has secured its return to the International Maritime Organization Council for the 2026-2027 period, a milestone that has been welcomed by role players, including the Maritime Business Chamber. Following a successful diplomatic campaign and strong regional engagement, the country reclaims its seat in Category C, reaffirming its long-standing leadership in global maritime governance after leaving the council in 2021. Let's speak to Unathi Sonti, Executive Chairperson of the Maritime Business Chamber. Good morning to you and thank you for your time. Why is this an important achievement for the country on the diplomatic stage?
Thank you, sir. This is very important because you know, how the reaction affairs positions the country into being indeed a voice, especially in particular within the SADC group for Southern African region in the IMO Council.
But what does it mean for South Africa's own maritime safety and security and its preparedness and meeting its obligations to the IMO? Because I do remember that being an issue a couple of months ago.
Look, one, it terms of our commitment as a country, in terms of us committed to the resolutions in terms of the assembly itself. But what is very key and important, we must understand that being part of the IMO Council, it gives us now an important role to be part of those that supervise the IMO's work, be part of those that now are able to say and also it gives us also an insight influencing policy and strategy and where we are able to see global issues.
And why is this important for broader South Africa? Give me the context for the country's maritime resources as well as the coastline and implications for taking maritime security and these international responsibilities seriously.
Remember, South Africa has got a coastline of 3,000 kilometers. And in that coastline, there's quite a number of opportunities that the country, with all our commercial, we have the port, and then we've got port. There are other things that we offer within that as a country, from the fishing, care, fishing, all of these now take us people to protect South Africa's position, South Africa's capability when it comes to the ocean. You remember the last time there was, a big fight in the country from it was when we had Operation Pakistan around. Since then, there isn't much, and right now, this now boosts our confidence in terms of refocusing. As we know, we're still in the process that we're developing South Africa's economy master plan. Still, I think this now will help us to say we are serious about maritime affairs.
Yeah, speaking of seriousness about maritime affairs, there are a couple of changes and perhaps improvements in how we take maritime governance in this country that you are calling for. They include the establishment of a Ministry of Maritime Affairs or an Ocean Economy Envoy. Tell me a bit more about that.
Look, if you see right now, and I can like at the time of Operation Pakistan. If we look from the time when the transport minister was in the tax, we have always seen that maritime has always been given to the deputy minister, and it has not been taken care of in terms of executive powers by under the minister of and I think this is one of the reasons. I think this is one of the reasons why maritime take so having this governance, either having for the office of the president who would give oversight, or where we see as well, you know, a ministry in the country, or we give more powers to what we have, which is currently the authority, which is the South African Maritime Safety Authority. If we change that South African Maritime Authority, which then come, they've got one of the abilities out of the issue that talks to managing pollution in the ocean from it. And they've got another uh, they've got another role there, which is about promoting maritime interest. And we believe that that may not necessarily talk to, but it may take just because they are the ones that I how the ones who contribute to the IMO.
All right, I've got to thank you for your time. That's Unathi Sonti, who is Executive Chairperson of the Maritime Business Chamber.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Buccaneers believe they are unstoppable and will walk away as champions. However, Bahlabani Bantwa plan to reveal their secret game plan on match day. This is the Carling Knockout Final. Witness Orlando Pirates versus Marumo Gallants on Saturday, 6 December at 5 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then at 6 p.m. on SABC radio stations. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Call to Lasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
Straight to it, short and sharp for me if you don't mind. Kaya in the Eastern Cape, good morning to you.
How are you?
Very well, please go ahead.
I just want to
Kaya, I think you're making a very important point, but we're battling to hear you. Please just move your handset slightly away from your mouth and try and speak up a little bit. Yes.
I was trying to say.
We can hear you now, yes.
Reminded me when
Say a bit more. In what way did it remind you of the Hani Memorandum? I think I'm with you, but I want you to spell it out.
the bravery part of it. Praise.
All right, Kai. Thank you for that. Interesting parallels. If you haven't seen the Hani Memorandum, do yourself a favor. Look it up, read it, and read it in the context of the time when it was written by Chris Hani and a couple of other cadres of the MK, just basically lamenting how the struggle had, in their view, gone adrift, and the leaders seemed to be distracted. It was blistering in its criticism and critique of how the struggle was being prosecuted in foreign lands, and just the comfort of it all, of some of the leaders and some of the practices, and that entrenched Chris Hani, in terms of his leadership role within the MK, but within the broader struggle for a democratic South Africa. Do read it, and Kaya, there making parallels between that and what Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi did on the 6th of July. Sia in King Williamstown. Good morning.
Tulas, good morning.
Good morning.
Going nowhere slowly.
And that's all right, brother. There was a red car. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know. You know, it's a sign that we are aging, that we are working with the Gen Zs and millennials who don't know what we are talking about.
They all know Tulas.
Mm.
It was last and I think it's fortunate for us to have grown up in that
Yeah,
year.
absolutely.
Tulas, this STV conversation you've had with the
Mhm.
as things stand now, just put me in a I'm behind with this thing. Am I right to believe that there's no other option for South Africans to watch television except through say television?
There is.
What happened to the going nowhere slowly era where you just press SABC 1, 2, and 3? No, this.
Do yourself a favor, download the SABC Plus app. That's all I'm going to say. SABC Plus, download it and then come back and let's have a conversation later on.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Thanks, my man. Thank you very much.
All right, Sia.
Sure,
Thank you
sure
for
to
that.
much.
That's Sia in King Williamstown. Of course, there is a bit of competition, even in the digital television space, free-to-air options, and it's been a subject, of much intrigue over the years, that competition. But is it sufficient? Is it sufficient? And also importantly, do people still watch television that way? I know that in many parts of the country where access to connectivity, internet connectivity, is a challenge, broadband and the likes, you are likely to have many people still on subscription, set-top boxes and the likes. But there's a sense that this is shifting and it's changing in many parts of the country. Certainly, when we're talking about getting more people connected and online, that may shift even more. So it's an interesting and fascinating conversation. Let me play a number of your voice notes, as many as possible, many of them responding to the conversation around the employment of foreign nationals in the public service and what we were told about that this morning.
Good morning to us. Good morning, SAFM listeners. Yeah, in education sector, if you go to so-called independent schools, some of them they are called private schools, but they are subsidized by the government. Go there and look at how many foreign nationals that are working there. The ratio, you only work there if maybe you are teaching vernacular, South African indigenous languages. So that the number that is given from that interview, I don't think it reflects the true reality that we experience on the ground.
Hi, Jonas. You're speaking to Lukani from Gqeberha. The gentleman that is there speaking about public sector skills is very economical with the truth. I worked as an educator in a school. Currently, I teach at a university preparing teachers. The universities are producing enough teachers for maths and science within the South African context. Where are they supposed to gain the experience? Where are these new novice teachers supposed to gain the experience if he says that they don't have the necessary experience to be put in school? Let us not play around. Let us speak the truth and say they want to employ foreign educators for whatever reason that they feel or deem fit.
Morning to us. It's Vogani from Durban. The conversation that you had, service administration official on the employment of foreign nationals. Next time you have someone like that, ask them to give you real figures, not percentages, real figures, how many are employed. And then as it relates to education, ask them how many are teaching critical subjects, because you will be shocked that it's not what it seems. Thank you.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
Very good morning to you. Let's start with Orlando Pirates winger Oswald Apollo saying the Buccaneers are fully locked in for Saturday's Carling knockout final. Won't be underestimating Maruma Galant's. Apollo insists their focus is on discipline, intensity, and they want to finish the job on the big stage.
Obviously, like I said, it would be a special moment, for us to win this trophy, but like I said, Marumo Gallants is a very strong team, and we don't go there and undermining them. It's our job to obviously work more out of as them to get the trophy.
Now, the former Bafana defender Matthew Booth has backed Coach Hugo Brood's African squad, saying the balance gives South Africa a real shot going deep. But when it comes to the goalkeeping department, Booth feels was room for fresh blood.
That was the other thing. Although I would have loved to have seen a third choice goalkeeper being a youngster, maybe one of the under 20 goalkeepers, Fletcher Loaf. I mean, you don't want to take too many youngsters into a squad or a competition of this nature. But I think third choice goalkeeper, you can take a risk.
Let's go to cricket. The Nepa Coach's colours one clear mission to win a World Cup for the past and the present players. Proteas woman all-rounder says her return is about the team and not personal glory. She wants to lift the trophy in honor of legends Shabnam Ismail and Lizelle Lee. South Africa opened their home summer against Ireland women's team tomorrow at the Newlands. At the netball, Malawi is putting the final touches on preparations for the Africa Netball Cup, which will start from the 8th to 14th of December in Lilongwe. 9 nations will compete, including South Africa, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Kenya, and Tanzania. Finally, motorsport. Cadillac will unveil their debut Formula One livery during a Super Bowl TV spot on the 5th of February. The team will join the grid as the 11th one outfit, the season opening on the 8th of March in Australia with Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez confirmed as drivers. This year's Super Bowl attracted a record 127.7 million viewers, making it the most watched single network broadcast in US TV history. That's your sport. We'll be back with more big, brighter, better sport with John Hediker around 12:30. I'm Sai Khan.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, Action SA has accused the DA of turning a blind eye to criminality in the city of Ekurhuleni. This is after suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department Deputy Julius Mkhwanazi denied allegations of corruption and misconduct. He told the Madlanga Commission he was trying to address the EMPD's vehicle shortage and support injured officers. The Nkabinde inquiry is set to hear more evidence from NPA head Advocate Shamila Batoy on why she referred the matter of Advocate Andrew Chauke to President Cyril Ramaphosa. The inquiry is probing Chauke's fitness to hold office. And former SARS Commissioner Oupa Magashula has died at the age of 63. This was confirmed by his family in a statement issued, indicating he passed away late yesterday evening. I'll have details on these and other stories at 9.
Tulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
All right. As the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry would have it, this is where I have to say goodbye to you because that commission deciding to start a bit earlier than usual. So we have to take you there live now at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. On the witness stand, Julius Mkhwanazi, the suspended Deputy Chief of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department.
Pull out the Mapieye annexure file. And I trust that you have your statement file open by you, your own statement. And once you've located your statement, please turn to page 11. At page 11, I want to draw your attention to paragraph 35. From 35, you deal with the issue of the blue lights and the registration of vehicles. Certain questions were posed to you in this regard and you provided responses. However, I omitted to clarify one matter with you regarding specifically this issue, which the chair has granted me opportunity to now. Before I do so, can I check some issues with you? And I speak from a layman's perspective. All our vehicles are registered through or in the eNatis system, is that correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
So, on my understanding, that system, and my use of the word system is in the broadest possible terms, the use of that system in itself has inbuilt a level of guarantee that I will not wake up tomorrow and find somebody is registered as owner of my car. Is that so?
It's happening. It's happening a lot. We deal with those complaints, we investigate those complaints.
Okay.
There are people who are able to get through the system and do that. In fact, it's one of the crimes that is costing that has made government to be flexible in terms of changing registration plates time to time, you see.
Okay.
But it's happening every day, everywhere. That's one of the challenges that we're having within the city of Ekurhuleni.
Okay, now you make me more worried than I was earlier this morning.
Yes.
But will you accept, or would I be correct to accept that it is not meant to happen that way?
Yes, yes, yes.
So something is broken in the system. The system is not functioning as it was intended to function.
Yes, and remember, it's managed nationally.
Yes, no doubt. Yes. I was just asking to understand how it works so that I can pose my question. Then you just increased my worries. But nonetheless, let's now, against that background, turn to MAPIA annexure file, and I want you to turn to page 92, and in particular, annexure JM 17 of MAPIA file.
Page 75.
Page 92.
92,
The flag should read JM 17.
Oh, JM 17.
Yes.
Oh, 92, JM 17. Oh, yes.
Thank you. This is the letter of intention to commit on the letterhead of CAT VIP protection. And at page 93, it concludes, kind regards, Mr. Vusimusi Matala, CEO. You confirm?
Yes, yes, yes.
And this is the letter that you had received from Mr. Vusimusi regarding the donation of the 4 vehicles referred to at page 92.
Yes.
That letter is unsigned.
Yes.
Okay. And that letter doesn't provide any detail that on the reading of the document would constitute proof of the fact that the cars listed in item 3, the 2 BMWs, the 1 Mercedes-Benz and the 1 VW Golf, are indeed owned by CAT VIP protection or Mr. Vusimusi Matlala, or that Mr. Vusimusi Matlala has got lawful authority over those vehicles. Do you accept that?
Yes, I accept. But I was listening to him at ad hoc. He has committed and agreed that, yes, I donated vehicles.
Yes.
Oh, there was that, yes.
Yeah, I just confined myself to the document as it stands.
Yes,
If I were to receive it, I would wonder whether he is able to donate the vehicles as he purports to at item 3, purely on the basis that this letter doesn't prove that he's the lawful owner of those vehicles. Correct?
Oh, yes, according to this.
Now, When we dealt with the issue, and I think Commissioner Baloyi asked you some questions on the registration of these particular vehicles into the name of the EMPD. You remember that engagement?
Yes, yes.
And my recollection earlier, you had said that after they had been registered in the name of Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Council or municipality, you received a call from the city's proxy, Christine, Mr. Christine, who said to you, and if I quote, hey Baba, there are problems or complaints about these registrations, correct?
Yes, yes.
But by the time he called you, technically they had been effected. That's why there had to be a re-registration back to Mr. Matlala. They had been registered as vehicles belonging to the municipality by the time this problem arose, about which Mr. Christine had that conversation with you.
Yes.
Yes, to say that that registration must be reversed.
Yes.
Yes. When you received the letter of donation, and this is the letter you gave to Mr. Christine, together with the instruction to register based on the donation itself, correct?
Yes.
Should the commission understand that this unsigned letter of intention to commit by Mr. Musi Matlala, that doesn't even cite his ID number, to which formal documentation pertaining to these vehicles is not attached. And there is no other proof accompanying this letter that either Mr. Matlala or CAT VIP Protection Services own these vehicles, that it was possible for you to facilitate the registration of those vehicles. How did you accomplish that feat?
Can you repeat? Because you said, could the commission find? I was still waiting.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
When you facilitated the registration of the vehicles in the municipality's name,
yes,
all you had was this letter, the donation. No, it's not even a donation letter because it's of intention to commit. That's all you had.
Yes. When I was called by Chris, the vehicles were registered.
Where before they are being registered. I'm trying to understand how the registration into the municipality's name occurred, and ask you whether, are you suggesting to the commission that this letter of intention to commit was sufficient to effect that registration?
Yes. When I went to Chris
Yes.
on that day, I received face value. Yesterday I said papers, I forgot the name face value. Face value is the paper that is having your ID, everything, the name of the owner. It's a bluish, grayish, or greenish document. We call it face value. But
we call it?
A face value paper.
Face value, okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things that it's having a challenge to. I know that I'm increasing the fears and what.
Yes.
Because most of the time they steal them and register. But I received that, which was accompanied by the ID number and everything, with the certified copy of the ID, which is having ID, this our card IDs and everything, you see. But all those documents that I received, I submitted them as the original to IPT, because I even told them that I'm even having, they didn't ask about them. I even said, I'm even this document original. I gave it to IPT. You can go and check, you will find them with the IDs and everything. But I saw in your attachments that they are there too. But all those documents about those vehicles, I took all of them to IPT with the photos of ID as they were registered, as per required process.
Okay.
But I'm not part of that side. But I know when you register a car, because I've been one of different cars, you're supposed to do that.
Now, We know that the memorandum of understanding concluded by you, between Ekurhuleni Municipality, EMPD, I think it was, and CAT VIP, that was never approved.
Yes,
so it
yes,
did
yes,
not
yes.
exist in reality.
Yes,
And
yes,
it could not be relied upon to register the vehicles. So we accept that, correct? We couldn't rely on that MOU to transfer the vehicles.
Yeah, we relied on what Chris wanted. I agree.
And the only other document we have regarding the donation is this JM 17.
Oh, this one?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
And we know that we did not have an agreement of donation signed by the city manager as the policy provides.
As I clarified yesterday, it was on an initiation stage. It was on a beginning
No,
stage.
sorry,
It was
sorry, your
not-
voice dropped.
Oh,
Say that again.
as, humble apologies.
Pull them towards
No, it's-
yourself more, thank you. Thank you. Please start back.
Humble up, I'm having ulcers, I can't push. you see.
I know the challenge. Perhaps if you lean over.
Let me try to amplify my voice.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm saying it was at the beginning stage, you see. That's why it didn't even, the question of, that's why you wanted the letter of commitment, because he was still dealing with the registration and everything, as I clarified yesterday. I know Commissioner Baloyi raised it many times with me, you see. But I'm still saying it was odd at that stage, you see. That's why Chris wanted, to me said, I only want this, you see, and I submitted this.
Yes.
Yes.
So then, looking at this annexure, clearly it does, firstly, it's unsigned by Mr. Vusimatala.
I agree.
And I don't think any credible institution would accept this document for any purpose. It's unsigned. What's your comment to that?
Let me say it was a blind eye, and because it's writing CEO Vusi and the IDs and everything, they correspond with the name, you see. But I agree with you. Oh, you can hear me?
Oh, yes. No, I didn't want to make you repeat, so I
No, let me
apologize.
repeat.
Yes.
May
Yes,
I?
I had missed. You say it was a?
No, I'm saying this with the documents that were submitted, ID numbers and the papers, but the process, I think maybe he agreed on that to confirm that the name and the surname and the ID copy or the certified ID copy. I think maybe it was because of that.
But this document doesn't speak to attachments. It doesn't say attached, please find certified copy of ID. It doesn't say, please find, you call it face value. It doesn't say anything.
You're correct, you're correct.
So you obtained those separately from Mr. Matala
Yes, yes, yes.
with a pure intent to facilitate the transfer of the vehicles into the municipality's name.
Not to facilitate per se. Remember when...
It has to be, apologies.
Sorry?
I was saying it has to be facilitate because you had concluded that this document in and of itself will not accomplish that feat.
Facilitated means you're part of the other side, you are doing papers and everything. I didn't do that. I submitted.
You first obtained them from Mr. Matala
Yes,
in order to submit them
yes,
so that the registration can take place.
yes, yes.
And that's what I call facilitation. Will you accept that?
I don't want to commit myself to facilitation.
Now, in that time that you were doing all that, as you informed Commissioner Baloyi yesterday, these vehicles were still in Mr. Matala's possession
Yes,
and in his use.
Yes, yeah, they were in Mr. Matala's position. I can't confirm, but yes, they were in Mr. Matala's position.
Why was there a hurry to facilitate the registration if the municipality had not even been placed in possession of the vehicles at the time?
Yes, yesterday I said to the chair that there was this excitement, this say we are going to get cars, you see. And this happiness would at least come bringing something to the city, something to the department, since there were challenges. That there was that excitement and say, at least there's something positive that I'm doing, you see.
So this
And I accepted to that, to the chair, when he said to
Okay.
me, you know, when you take decisions whilst you're in excitement, I said, no, it's a lesson I learned, you see.
So you then must, because you haven't, I don't think you have produced the documents that you say facilitated the registration of these vehicles.
No, I've said all the original I submitted to IPIT when they were investigating. I gave it to them as they are.
So I then must put it to you that you say you did not fit the vehicles with the blue lights. That's
Yes,
your contention.
yes.
But you must accept that you facilitated that process through the registration of those vehicles in the municipality's name in circumstances where the municipality did not have control over those cars. What is your comment to that?
My comment is that the first thing, when this thing, there was noise, I said, but I didn't see these vehicles. They didn't see, and officers, if they see members of public with blue lights who are not supposed, they're supposed to arrest that person, you see, because I didn't see them. You see, no one has came to me with the red photos of saying, these focus 1, 2, 3, 4 are having blue lights.
Yes.
See, I've never, and no one has ever came to me. It's just media, and people that are raising. But physically, and them coming to me with the cars or photos, I've never. Except that thing of blue lights with the wife and what, it's only that thing in social media. As I've said that's why I started to pick and say, what's happening now? I started to be cautious. But after that, it was Mr. Mzolo, Mr. Christine. Then I could conclude in my mind. And as I've said that suspension, there's nothing that came to me. It was for the first time, and I appreciated to see documents with this commission.
Yes.
It was, in fact, transparent, I started to see, So there is documentation, and even the attachments that you gave it to me, I could see photos of Vutu Matlala registration plates and the registration and what those that I submitted to IPT. You see, I said, no, but there's honestly, you see, that's what I stated. That's what pushed me to differ with my attorneys and say, no, at least it's transparent. I'm going to that commission. At least now I can have something.
You say that you are not, you say that your standpoint is any citizen, private citizen, driving a car with blue lights has to be arrested. That's
Yes,
your standpoint.
once to stop him or her,
Yes.
blue lights, they must approve an appointment card and other papers. You see, it's an arrest or you impound a vehicle.
Okay.
Yes.
But thanks to your facilitation, that is not a risk Mr. Matlala faced, because if that vehicle were stopped and checked, the records will show it as an EMPD vehicle. So he never ran that risk, and you knew that.
Now the appointment card must tell you that I'm an officer. You want an appointment card. Remember, officers, they don't wear uniform. You stop them. Once you stop them, in fact, it's happening. I did it many times. It's happening many times where you stop a police officer, appointed police officer, driving a private vehicle. If you want to confirm, you want we call it Amstelling or appointment card in English. Let me say so, it's an Afrikaans word, you see. Then you confirm the appointment card is an officer and what. If you are not even sure, you can, on a radio, we are able to connect to SAPS channel. In fact, the communication radio that they're using all metros, it's linked to SAPS. There's a channel that you confirm the appointment card. Then they will confirm to, yes, this is an officer, you see.
And the system, you are able to check in A-Natus to see the ownership of that vehicle, can't you?
Yes.
And you
yes,
actually
yes.
do.
Yes.
And
yes,
when
yes.
that check returns a confirmation that it is owned by EMPD, it offers some level of protection for the occupants of that vehicle. It is an official EMPD vehicle according to E-Natus.
Yes, they were registered.
Yes.
Not
And-
not EMPD, to the city.
To
Or
the
it doesn't say, our vehicles, they don't say, if they're not marked, you can't confirm it's for the department. But our vehicles are saying the city of Ekurhuleni. They are registered with the city of Ekurhuleni by one proxy. But yes, I confirm they were registered to the city.
they were registered and used. So you say that even the police vehicles of the city of Ekurhuleni, it can never be determined that these are under the control of the EMPD directly used by police officers, and these are general council municipal vehicles used by everybody, including me, who happens to be employed.
May I clarify something to you?
Yes, please do.
We use vehicles of the city as EMPD. For example, like currently, 50% of the vehicles that we're using, because of challenges of vehicles, they belong to other departments, but they're not registered under those departments. Health, different departments, parks and what, but they are registered under the city of Ekurhuleni with one proxy. But if a vehicle is not marked, you can't determine that it's EMPD, not EMPD. That's why we are pushing that our vehicle must be marked. But with the challenges of finances, we prioritize buying than marking, because marking per vehicle is very costly, because you must brand. Let me say branding per se. You must brand the whole vehicle. It becomes a challenge. I'm saying this because currently, as an acting chief, I was dealing with the issue with the fleet, the issue of buying vehicles. You see, we pushed them to be branded, but they said, no. Once we brand, it means that per that fleet of 40, 50, we must cancel or we must buy 35 and use the money of the other vehicles to brand. I said, no. We need vehicles. Give us tools of trade. Then in the next coming procurement or what, you will assist us by putting branding. For now, you can put stickers. That's what is marking. Just put on stickers. And those stickers, I must say, at any time you can move them. But it's so that members of public, when you stop them, they can say at least, this is EMPD. As I've said to you, now we can drive around the Ekurhuleni. You'll be stopped by a vehicle which is not even having a blue light, you see, because we don't have a tender for that as the city, you see. If it's not part of the 50 vehicles, those that are borrowed from other departments, you can't feed them with anything. It's just to take members from to the place of work. But the challenge that we have is that there must be another tender to put blue lights. It's a process that needs finance and finances. It's a challenge, it's a difficult challenge. But not because it's not doable, because there are no finances to do that. That's a challenge. We prioritize to get tools of trade so that officers can go and do points, go and attend complaints and what. Then for patrolling crimes and what, we take those that have a marked vehicle. But once you stop that person with that car, it will say City of Ekurhuleni. It will confirm that it's registered under the city. I agree on that. But challenge is to confirm that exactly the department has become, it's not supposed to be that, you see. But because of challenges of finances and it is like that.
Okay. My question is, from your answer, I want to test if I'm understanding you correctly. EMPD officials have the right to use blue lights, don't they?
Police officers?
Yes.
Yes. But let me explain. It's just I'll take 1 minute. I know Bob Madlala doesn't want me to talk and move. Yes. Humble apologies, Chair.
Madlanga, not Madlala, please.
Ngicela ubize futhi.
Madlanga.
Madlanga. Humble apologies. I know that you have been defended my surname many times. Humble apologies, Chair. We are having security officers that are employed under the city or under EMPD. Let me specifically talk about department. Then we are having peace officers. Our peace officers are not like the one of the province. You see, those that are appointed as traffic wardens. Let me say traffic wardens. They do points, they attend to school points in the morning to assist school kids. You'll find them driving those vehicles. But we give them old cars. You see, but they're still marked. They're branded, per se. I don't know, because I invited the commission to go to the city. I don't know when they go, they said, but you said this is not happening. It's happening because of challenges. Because in a party, there can be 5, 6 there, and at least they can attend 5 or 4 points. But we are pushing that There must be an officer.
Commissioner Mkhwanazi, I apologize. You recall that we are talking about blue lights,
Yes,
not
yes.
branding.
Yes, yes, I'm going
And my
there.
only question was EMPD officials, police officers, are entitled to use blue lights.
Or police officials, yes, but I
Yes.
wanted to say we still have security officers and
As
traffic
I say,
wardens.
police
Oh,
officials.
yes, yes,
or
yes.
Police officers, they are entitled.
Yes, yes.
And they have exercised that right by
Yes.
installing blue lights.
Sorry?
By installing blue lights.
No, they don't install blue lights.
Or by having blue lights installed in their vehicles.
They are issued with cars that are having blue lights. They don't
Okay. They are
they
issued
don't
with-
partake in those processes. All of us, we don't partake in those processes.
Okay,
We
I
are
take-
being issued
Issued by who?
by the city and the department.
So the city is responsible for the installation of the blue lights.
Yes, yes, Prox.
Okay.
Prox is responsible for that, not the MPT.
When you say proxy, are you suggesting
Mr. Christine.
Mr. Christie
Yes.
is responsible for installing blue lights in vehicles?
Yes, yes.
So how does Mr. Christie know which vehicle to fit with blue lights and which not?
Remember, he's the one who's procuring vehicles. He's mastering in that. He knows that I've bought or procured 40 vehicles in this financial term. Those vehicles, as I explained, in terms of the finances, budget must be like this. It deals with budgeting and everything with his team, you see, that we are going to install 40 of them with this amount. After that tender, there's nothing that is happening, I think so. But he's the one that master it, and he has been doing it for years.
Mr. Matala, can I make this comment to you?
Yes, yes.
To head in the morning for the mistake.
Thank you for taking me to that level.
No, not that level.
I'm sure,
I apologize for the
it's-
error.
I'm sure it's not a Freudian slip, Commissioner.
I apologize, Commissioner Mkhwanazi. The letter is open in front of me and my eye fell on the name. I didn't mean to do so. My comment to you is, in your testimony this morning, you are desperately trying to place as much distance between the vehicles of the EMPD, between yourself and the vehicles of the EMPD. That is, you are trying very hard to do that. And that is why you suggest that all vehicles are registered as owned by the city only and have got no association with EMPD.
Now they got association. Once the vehicle are registered, bought by the city, once they're issued to the department, it becomes the responsibility of a department.
And that way they get associated with the department.
Yes, once they're issued.
Yes.
Once they're issued to the, not associated. Your wording is putting me, sorry. Association and issued is two different things. Once they're issued, or once they are handed to the department,
Okay.
there's handing over ceremony where we receive all our fleet.
Okay. Like the 4 donated vehicles are issued to EMPD.
No, they were not issued to MPT. They were not issued to MPT. I've said we didn't receive those vehicles.
Oh,
They were not physically issued to.
but they were intended to be issued.
Yes,
To
yes,
EMPD.
yes,
So they would be strictly for use by EMPD.
yes.
And therefore, they would be able, that would assist whoever is able to fit in blue lights on the basis that it's for the use by EMPD. I'm not saying facilitated by EMPD, but that would enable them to do so.
Don't be technical.
Oh,
You are.
I thought it's
You
technical
are.
issues.
You are.
So,
Repeat that statement. I will stop you, and may you please, there's where I want to stop you and want you to change the wording. Today you want me to hang myself to the commissioners.
okay. I have no interest in you hanging yourself. In fact, you still have a lot of assistance to render to the commission, so I would desperately not wish for you to hang yourself. What I'm saying is, you facilitate the transfer of the vehicles. You go out of your way to obtain the documents necessary for that effort. In circumstances where Mr. Matala, in informing you of the intention to commit through this letter, did not give you the requisite documents, because you knew those vehicles would be for the use of EMPD. Now you want to dissociate yourself from that close relation between the vehicles and the EMPD by suggesting that firstly they get registered to the city and then internally in the city they are distributed to EMPD. That's what you're trying to do.
I agree with your latter, or with your 2 or 3 last